Somewhere beneath Moscow, far below the traffic, far below the metro stations, far below the foundations of apartment blocks, government ministries, and centuries of Russian history, there may be another city. A hidden city. A city built not for life, but for the end of life as we know it. A place designed to remain operational after nuclear war. A place where military commanders could issue orders while entire continents burned above them. A place so secret that even today, decades after the fall of the Soviet Union, nobody outside a small circle knows exactly how deep it goes or how much of it truly exists. Officially, many of these facilities are classified. Unofficially, stories have circulated for generations. Stories of underground railways, armored command centers, blast doors weighing hundreds of tons. Entire districts hidden beneath the streets of Moscow. The Soviet Union prepared for many things. Economic collapse, foreign invasion, global revolution. But above all, it prepared for nuclear war. And if those preparations were real, then somewhere beneath modern Moscow lies one of the most ambitious survival projects ever attempted by human beings. The question is not whether a bunker exists. The question is how far they were willing to go. The world before. To understand the bunker, you first have to understand the fear, because fear built it. The year is 1945. The Second World War has ended. Berlin is in ruins, millions are dead, and for a brief moment, the world hopes peace has finally arrived. Instead, a new war begins. Not with armies, not with invasions, but with a weapon unlike anything humanity had ever seen, the atomic bomb. When the United States demonstrated nuclear capability at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, every government on Earth received the same message. The future would belong to whoever could survive the unthinkable. Within years, the Soviet Union developed its own nuclear weapons. Then came larger bombs, faster bombers, intercontinental missiles, submarines capable of launching destruction from beneath the oceans. By the 1960s, human civilization possessed enough firepower to destroy itself many times over. The Cold War was not simply a military rivalry. It was a competition in survival, because every leader faced the same terrifying question. What happens after the missiles launch? The system. The Soviet answer was unlike anything the world had ever seen. The Soviet Union did not merely build defenses, it built redundancy. Backup systems for backup systems, alternative command centers, alternative communication networks, alternative governments, entire plans for operating a country after nuclear catastrophe. Another command center would take control. If that command center was destroyed, another would replace it. The philosophy was simple. The state must survive. No matter the cost, no matter the casualties, no matter what remained above ground. This mindset transformed the Soviet Union into one of the most secretive engineering powers in history. And nowhere was that secrecy more concentrated than beneath Moscow itself. The dream. At the height of the Cold War, Soviet planners imagined a nightmare scenario. Nuclear missiles crossing oceans, warning sirens sounding, minutes remaining, government leaders rushing underground, military commanders preparing retaliation, entire cities vanishing in flashes of light. In that scenario, the Soviet Union needed a brain, a place from which the country could continue functioning, a fortress hidden beneath the earth, protected by layers of concrete and steel, connected by communication networks stretching across thousands of miles, able to survive even if the world above ceased to exist. According to former officials, military historians, and declassified fragments, that dream began to take shape beneath Moscow. Massive excavation projects expanded deep underground. Some sections were linked to metro construction. Others disappeared into classified budgets. Workers often knew only small portions of the projects they were building. The result was a labyrinth, and somewhere within that labyrinth, a mystery that still fascinates researchers today. The warning signs. For decades, rumors refused to die. Construction workers reported unusual tunnels. Former military personnel hinted at restricted underground facilities. Foreign intelligence agencies monitored suspicious excavation activity. Western analysts began hearing stories of something called Metro 2, an alleged secret railway system running beneath Moscow's public metro. According to various reports, This hidden network connected government facilities, military headquarters, emergency command centers, and deep underground shelters. Official confirmation never came, yet the stories persisted, and with every passing decade, the mystery grew. Because if Metro 2 existed, what exactly was it connecting? And why did so many sources describe the same underground world? The crisis. Then came the moment that nearly justified all of it. October 1962. The Cuban Missile Crisis. For 13 days, humanity stood closer to nuclear war than ever before. American forces prepared, Soviet forces prepared, nuclear weapons were armed, military commanders waited. And around the world, people wondered if civilization had only days left. In Moscow, the possibility of annihilation was no longer theoretical. It was real. Every bunker, every emergency communication system, every contingency plan suddenly mattered. For Soviet leadership, the nightmare they had spent years preparing for seemed ready to arrive. And if war had begun, the underground city beneath Moscow may have become the most important location on Earth. But the missiles never launched. The crisis ended. The world survived, and the bunkers remained hidden, for now. The investigation. Decades later, researchers began piecing together clues. Satellite imagery, architectural records, leaked testimonies, former officials, military historians, journalists, each discovered fragments of a much larger puzzle. Certain government compounds appeared connected to unusual underground infrastructure. Some facilities possessed ventilation systems far larger than expected. Others showed evidence of deep excavation projects extending far below normal construction levels. Former Soviet-era personnel occasionally hinted at locations that could not be discussed. And always, the same question returned. How much of Moscow exists beneath Moscow? The hidden truth, the most unsettling possibility, is not that the bunkers exist. It is that they worked. Because if Soviet engineers successfully created a survivable command network, then they achieved something extraordinary. A system capable of maintaining military command after nuclear attack. A machine designed to continue functioning after the collapse of civilization. A city beneath a city. Invisible, silent, waiting, not for peace, but for catastrophe. And perhaps that is the most revealing detail of all. These structures were never monuments. They were insurance policies, physical manifestations of fear, built by people who genuinely believed the world could end tomorrow. The consequences today, the Soviet Union is gone. The Cold War is over. Many of the leaders who ordered these projects are dead, yet the infrastructure remains. Some facilities have become museums. Others remain active. Others remain classified. The modern Russian state still values strategic continuity, still values hardened command facilities, still invests in underground infrastructure, which means the story may not be over. Because while governments change, geopolitics rarely disappears. The final lesson, the secret bunker beneath Moscow, is ultimately not a story about concrete, or tunnels, or military engineering. It is a story about human fear. For generations, millions of people lived under the shadow of nuclear annihilation. And beneath that shadow, entire worlds were constructed underground. Not because anyone wanted to live there, but because leaders believed one day they might have no choice. The bunkers remind us of something deeply uncomfortable. Humanity has always been brilliant at preparing for disaster. The question is whether we are equally committed to preventing it. Because somewhere beneath Moscow, hidden behind steel doors and forgotten tunnels, the architecture of survival still waits. A monument to a world that feared its own destruction, and a reminder that some of history's greatest secrets were built not from ambition, but from terror. If you enjoyed this investigation, subscribe to Lumen Life, where we uncover the hidden systems, forgotten mysteries, and extraordinary stories shaping our world.